The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council glittered with crystalline spires and holographic banners, a place where empires gathered to debate in relative peace. Humanity had only been seated there for 50 years, a blink in galactic terms, but their presence had grown steadily. The other species regarded them as ambitious, curious, and, above all, harmless. That illusion shattered the day a girl died. Her name was Ilara Vance, barely 16 years old, daughter of Ambassador Marcus Vance of Earth. She was supposed to be safe on the neutral world of Tuaros, a shining hub of diplomacy where even sworn enemies laid down their weapons. She liked to wander the bazaars, marvel at alien foods and trinkets, and ask endless questions that made seasoned diplomats smile. Then came the attack. A group of extremists from the Krell Dominion, humanoid reptiles notorious for despising humans, saw her walking alone. Words were exchanged, insults, shoves. Witnesses said she tried to walk away. One of them drew a plasma blade. A single strike ended her life in the middle of a crowded market. News rippled through the stars like fire. The council convened an emergency session, every seat filled with murmurs of regrettable incident and tragic loss. The Krell delegation offered a shallow apology, calling it an isolated outburst and urging everyone to move on. To the seasoned council members, this was just another political mess. But the humans didn't cry. Ambassador Vance stood before the council, his face carved from stone, his voice flat. "You have spilled innocent blood. A child. Our child." He did not shout, he did not plead. He simply gathered his daughter's body and departed, followed by every human delegate. After that day, no human was seen in the Grand Hall again. At first, the council sighed in relief. "They'll grieve quietly," one Arxan senator said. "Humans are fragile. They'll mourn, then return." Others nodded, believing the matter closed. The galaxy had seen countless tragedies. What was one more? Yet unease simmered. Reports trickled in of human colonies going silent, ambassadors leaving postings, merchant ships recalled home. To the casual eye, Earth seemed to be retreating. But in the silence, a storm was brewing. On the Krell homeworld, military leaders mocked the humans. One girl and they vanish. Weak creatures. They bark, but they do not bite. They were wrong. In the shadows beyond Sol, vast shipyards stirred to life. Engines, dormant for centuries, roared awake. Massive hulls, blacked out on all known registries, rose from hidden docks. Crews that had trained in secret for generations assembled without a word. The galaxy thought it had silenced humanity. Instead, it had lit the fuse.
The Galactic Council resumed its usual rhythm within weeks of Ilara Vance's murder. To most species, time erased wounds quickly. Reports of the human incident, as bureaucrats now labeled it, had already slipped into archives, destined to gather dust alongside centuries of forgotten tragedies. But not for the humans. Earth's delegation chambers remained dark. The blue and green banners of the Terran Republic were quietly removed from the Grand Hall, replaced by the neutral sigil of absent member. At first, the Council considered it a symbolic protest. Humans were emotional, after all. They'd return eventually. Then, odd things began to happen. On the frontier, trade routes once buzzing with human freighters suddenly went empty. Merchant guilds complained of lost profits. Patrols noticed Terran colony beacons going dark, as if entire populations had cut themselves off from galactic traffic. Even stranger, intelligence networks began whispering of unusual movements, supply convoys vanishing into uncharted sectors, shipyards sealed under military blockade. A trickle of intercepted communications showed terse, coded orders. Admiral Jurok of the Veyari Confederation, a veteran who had fought in 3 border wars, raised his concerns to the Council. He said, "This is not mourning. This is preparation. Humans are withdrawing to sharpen their blades." The chamber erupted in laughter. "The Terrans with what?" sneered a Krell representative. "Their fleet consists of outdated frigates and diplomatic escorts. They don't even possess dreadnoughts." The laughter echoed, smug and careless. Only Jurok did not join. He remembered standing across from human soldiers during the Sol Veyari standoff decades earlier. Even then, he had seen a glint in their eyes, unyielding, patient, the kind of resolve that waits centuries if it must. Meanwhile, on Earth, silence cloaked the planet like a shroud. Cities bustled, factories roared, but no news broadcasts left the atmosphere. No news agencies reported to galactic feeds. For the first time since humanity joined the stars, they had gone completely opaque. Inside the secretive Defense Command bunker beneath the Rockies, Ambassador Vance stood before a vast screen. His daughter's picture glowed softly at its center. Around him sat generals, admirals, scientists, and leaders of every Terran colony. No one spoke. They all knew why they were there. "We gave the galaxy peace," Vance said. His voice cracked but steadied. "They mistook it for weakness. They spilled innocent blood, and they believe we will bow." General Alvarez leaned forward. "The fleets are ready. Hidden as always, we only await the order." For decades, humanity had cultivated an image of vulnerability. Outdated ships, modest defenses, limited reach. But it had been a mask. Behind it, Earth had been preparing colonies mined deep in asteroid belts, shipyards built under crustals, and fleets tested in simulation wars unseen by alien eyes. The galaxy believed humanity had claws no sharper than a kitten's. Now the claws were unsheathing, and still the galaxy laughed.
The first sign came at the edge of Krell space. A mining outpost reported a sudden eclipse, an object so vast it blotted out the local sun. At first, they thought it was an asteroid. Then the scanners resolved the shape. A warship. Colossal and angular, dwarfing anything in their registry. Its hull bore no council designation, no familiar markings. Across its flanks, only one symbol gleamed. A stylized blue and green Earth. The Krell outpost didn't live long enough to send more. Across the stars, similar stories poured in. Human fleets, fleets no one had ever seen, emerged from dark sectors, deep space voids, and uninhabited colonies. Ships that should not have existed. Carriers the size of moons. Cruisers sleek and sharp, their weapons arrays bristling like the spines of some great beast. They moved with precision, striking in silence. The galaxy's laughter died overnight. In the council chamber, panic spread like wildfire. Reports stacked upon reports. Krell shipyards burned to cinders. Dominion fortresses reduced to floating debris fields. Mercenary fleets who once mocked humanity erased in minutes, their distress calls cut off mid-scream. "These weapons," one senator stammered, "they bypass shields entirely." Another added, trembling, "Our intelligence said they had frigates." But Earth's fleets were more than just size. They fought like predators who had studied their prey for centuries. Alien defenses were exploited with uncanny precision. Jamming waves blinded targeting systems. Hypersonic torpedoes curved through shield harmonics as if the laws of physics bent for humanity's wrath. And everywhere they struck, they left a message. Broadcast in every tongue, every frequency, the words rang clear. for a Lara Vance. The galaxy soon realized these strikes weren't wild vengeance, they were surgical. Every target belonged to those who had funded, harbored, or celebrated the extremists who killed a human girl. Entire military networks collapsed in days, while civilian worlds, untouched, watched in silent horror. On the Krell homeworld, generals gathered in disbelief as orbital defense grids fell without firing a shot. Hundreds of human warships emerged from stealth, their engines glowing like the eyes of gods. The skies above the Krell capital turned dark, eclipsed by human steel. This is impossible, one Krell commander whispered. No species builds fleets like this without notice. But humans had. For a century, Earth had been underestimated. They had been called weak, soft, naive. While the galaxy mocked, they had built in silence, burying shipyards under ice worlds, disguising fleets as trade convoys, hiding technology behind humble smiles. And now, all at once, they unveiled the truth. The humans did not ask for treaties. They did not demand reparations. They did not plead for justice. They came with fire and silence, their fury made manifest in armadas that dwarfed the nightmares of empires. The message was clear. You spilled human blood. Now you will learn what that costs. The Galactic Council chamber had never known fear. Its crystalline walls had witnessed centuries of wars and disputes, always cushioned by the illusion that this was the one safe place in the galaxy. But as the images poured in, Krell fortresses burning, fleets crumbling, and human warships blotting out suns, the chamber shook with panic. Delegates shouted over one another. Some demanded negotiations, others begged for immediate surrender. A few whispered the unthinkable. Perhaps it was time to strike Earth before it was too late. But those whispers died the moment the screens lit up with a single broadcast, overriding every channel, every frequency, every ship and world in the galaxy. The face of Ambassador Marcus Vance filled the void. Behind him, the Earth flag rippled, not as a symbol of peace this time, but of judgment. He did not shout. He did not rage. His voice was level, stripped of anything but truth. You killed one of us, a child, and you laughed. Across 1,000 systems, silence reigned. You called it unfortunate. You called it meaningless. But we are human. To us, one life is not meaningless. One child is not replaceable. One death is not forgotten. Behind him, the camera panned outward, revealing not just one fleet, but thousands. Battle groups stretching into infinity, filling space like a storm of steel, ships the size of mountains, drones that swarmed like flocks of metal birds, weapons glowing with a cold blue fire the galaxy had never seen before. This is what we hid. While you mocked us, we built. While you dismissed us, we prepared. We did not want war. We do not want conquest. But understand this. The Hollow zoomed in on his face. His eyes were cold steel. For every human life you take, 100 of yours will answer. Then, just as suddenly, the broadcast cut out. For weeks after, the fleets moved with terrifying precision. The Krell Dominion, the species that had produced the girls' killers, was shattered in less than a month. Their armies routed, their capital ringed by human dreadnoughts, like wolves around a wounded beast. But humanity did not burn their cities. They left them crippled, stripped of fleets and pride, forced to live with the shame of their arrogance. Other powers scrambled to submit. Treaties were signed at lightning speed, each one bending to Terran terms. Entire empires that once mocked Earth now sent tribute.
not out of respect, out of fear. In the void above Tuaro Station, where Alara Vance once laughed among the alien markets, a new monument was raised, a colossal statue of a young girl, her eyes turned to the stars. Beneath it, a simple inscription: "One spark can light a fire." The galaxy never forgot. From that day on, no one dared call humanity weak. The name of Earth was spoken only with caution, with respect, with a quiet fear that lingered in every council hall and war room. Because they all remembered the day the hidden fleet rose, and the day one girl's death remade the galaxy.